Hello and welcome to The Dirty. I am your host, Eric Berry. Do me a favor, follow the show and me at Eric Berry Comedy. I'm no longer posting stuff to at Dirty the Show for the meantime because I just want to see if this gets a little bit more traction on my own channel. Smash that subscribe button, brah. On today's show, we have a very special guest. Me. That's one of the hardships of having guests on your show is booking them because, you know, people are busy, things happen, things fall through, people fall through. Sometimes you wanna go. But I've had a pretty wild life, so there's a number of stories. Certainly no shortage of those that I can share with you guys. So that's what we're going to do today. Just a little update. I am getting ready to go on vacation to see the rest of Mexico, which I'm excited about. I love traveling. It can be kind of exhausting, and it's hard to do stuff like this when you're traveling. It's hard to do stand-up. You got to live in like a place where there's a metropolitan area. And, you know, in my case, a lot of people who speak English. But I love traveling. I wish I discovered it way earlier in my life. I was 33 the first time I ever stayed in a hostel. And I was like, oh my God, why did I not discover this earlier? You get to meet people, get suggestions on where to go next, you know? A lot cheaper frequently to do it that way. I actually got this. Can you see that sweet little VW tank top? I got this in Koh Tao, Thailand, one of my favorite islands, places, cities, whatever in the world. That's why I got certified to scuba dive. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get to a story about me. I used to be a gay for pay sex worker, but I'm not gay.
You sound like a gay.
People are always confused. They're like, well, Eric, how could you be a gay for pay sex worker if you're not gay? And I'm like, I don't think you listened to the entirety of what I just said. I was gay for pay.
Have you been given tug jobs in the bathroom?
No, why would I do that? I would never do something like that. First of all, I have a girlfriend.
It was a job, right? And we all do things for money. I don't think that garbage men are wading through banana peels and used tampons for love of the game.
I have recently been placed in charge of garbage.
Maybe they are. Who am I to judge? This is the story of the first time I ever engaged in sex work. And we're going to call this In and Out. So, like all good stories, this started when I was 18 years old and a student at UC Berkeley. I was a poor student. My mom didn't have a lot of money, and my dad wasn't in the picture at the time. So I was working for $8 an hour.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
At the Gap. And I remember one night, it was an overnight shift, and I was folding clothes on the ground. And I thought, there's got to be a better way to make money on my knees. I happened to be taking a class called man sex or male sexuality. And when you hear about parents being afraid to send their kids to Berkeley because of how that might turn them into some weird liberal weirdo, this was that class. This is a class where we literally studied sex from the male perspective, the psychology of sex, physiology of sex, all of that stuff. There was another class called fem sex, which was the same thing, but for women. In this class, I actually started it when I was 17. I started as a freshman at Berkeley when I was 17. I turned 18 while I was in this class. But I remember perusing Craigslist and seeing this now defunct section called Erotic Services. So I went to my class and I asked them, I said, does anyone know about this Erotic Services thing? And, you know, there was a decent number of gay people in the class, some women. And yeah, they knew about it. So I decided to make a posting. And bear in mind, I was a virgin at the time. I thought, okay, I'm going to engage in be a nude masseur. That would be like a nice way to dip my toes into the kiddie pool of prostitution, right? So I go back to my dorm and I make this posting. And this was the real headline. It said, just turned 18. UC Berkeley freshman, former high school football player, never been with a man. If you had told me that it was possible to exceed your Gmail's inbox quota, I would not have believed you either. But I stepped away and like 10 minutes later, my inbox was just like Apparently men want to put their best foot forward, and I don't know why, but men think that their best foot is a 25 megapixel shot of their ball sack. I don't know why it has to be so high res. Like I was going to print out color swatches. Like I was picking out the new color for the kitchen or something. Yeah, it's champagne pink with a spread of hair. So I went through the ads and I saw an ad from a woman. I had posted in the man for men and women section as not to close myself off from any business opportunities.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Of the, I don't know, let's just say 100 emails, there was one from a woman. So I read it and it said, hey, me and my husband, we really like younger guys to come and give us nude massages.
Hello.
And I thought, okay, again, nude massage, perfect, easier than doing anything more. There's going to be a woman there. And she said that she was going to pay $200 an hour. And I was like,
We're in the money.
We're in the money.
Oh, depression, you what you've done us wrong.
I have definitely made the right decision in life. They're in San Francisco. I'm going to take BART in. They're going to pick me up from the BART station. I'm going to be there 2 hours. Got their address and so forth. But for safety reasons, I had to let my friends know what was going on. And so I went to like my dorm mates and I was like, hey, can I talk with you guys? We shared a suite together. I basically like kind of had to come out to them. It's like, hey, I might be doing some gay shit. Also, I might be a whore. And we're like 1.5 months into being students, freshmen at Berkeley. And my friends were like, whoa, man, like this is what college is all about. Like their minds were blown. I gave them the address and all that stuff. I end up I take BART into San Francisco and I get out of the station and the husband comes to pick me up. And I get in the car and I'm so nervous. And I realize this doesn't make sense because I'd said I'd never like been with a guy. I guess that could have held true in this instance, but I pretended like I'd done the nude massage thing before. Like I didn't want to be like, oh, this is my first time.
Are you a virgin?
And as we're driving in the car, he says to me, oh, I forgot to tell you, we couldn't find a babysitter for the kids. So my wife took them to the movies. So it's just going to be you and me. And I thought, fuck, like, was there ever even a wife to begin with? But if there was, like, good on them, for like not having the kids there, just waiting in the other room, right? Watching fucking Dora the Explorer while mom and dad are getting a rub down. So we go there, we get to his apartment. He has like a futon laid out on the floor in the living room, which I have to assume isn't there all the time. Especially if you have kids, or I have to assume it is there all the time, in which case, like, again, this guy's story was kind of like, We go and we start to undress. I had never had alcohol at this point. He offered me wine. I said no.
We're gonna party. Party hardy.
I had never seen like a naked man's body. Do you know what I mean? There's like a difference between a boy's body and a man's body. You know that you've reached that point when like your facial hair starts to connect to your chest hair. This guy, he just had like a weathered body. Like he had a body like I do now. You know what I mean? Like I'm 38. He was probably 38 at this point. And I was 18, barely. Barely legal.
Please be 18.
He's like, oh, did you bring oils or something? And like, dude, I didn't know shit about giving massages. I was like, no. And so I think he had some lotion or something. He gets down on the futon and I didn't know anything about giving massages. So I start doing this thing where I'm like pinching his skin and like lifting up, like rubbing, but then lifting. And he said this thing, which is honestly an awesome piece of advice, which has stuck with me to this day, which is just make sure to maintain contact when you're moving from one point to another. Try your best not to actually take your hands off of the body. Very good tip. Still use it today. Get lots of compliments on my massages. So believe it or not, nothing extraordinarily weird happens beyond the fact that I'm an 18-year-old freshman virgin student going to an internet man's house and giving him a nude massage. Checked in with my friends after hour 1, checked in with my friends after hour 2, and so things were done, and he's going to pay me, and I'm standing by the door to his apartment. It was supposed to be $200 an hour for 2 hours, so $400. And he starts pulling out 20s, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he stops. And I was like, oh, it was supposed to be $200 an hour, 2 hours. He's like, oh, my wife didn't tell me that. And I'm like, dude, do you even have a wife? You know, I'm thinking this. I'm like, fuck. He's like, that's all I have. And I was just mortified. I felt so much shame and internal homophobia, and I felt like an idiot for getting screwed. And he saw the look in my face. He's like, hold on. I think I have something for you. And he runs back to his bedroom. And then he comes back out. And he pulls out, and this is 100% true, 3 $5 coupons to In-N-Out. Yeah. Now, am I proud that I gave a man a nude massage for $15 to In-N-Out? No. But if you don't think I knew exactly where I was having dinner that evening, you are sadly mistaken. And that is the story of my first foray into sex work. And to this day, my friends still make fun of me for sucking dick for In-N-Out dollars. Although, again, that did not happen that evening. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Man, that's one of my favorite stories that I have, but I got so many more. We will be having guests on in the future. Please, again, follow me in the show at Eric Berry Comedy. Like, subscribe, comment. Comments, it helps everything out with the algorithm and so forth. Subscribe. It means a lot, and I really appreciate you guys listening. Until next time, I'm Eric Berry. Keep it dirty.